What does your wife do? Does she help with your business?
She does everything. Oh
everything?
my God.
Yeah. And I shouldn't say, does she help with your business, because you couldn't do what you do without her.
Exactly. She's not in the business, but by golly, like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So she is sort of like, you know how if you're watching the news, there's the person, you could see them on camera, but they have that person in their ear who's telling them, like, and making sure the show's actually running. That's what she does for the family.
Yeah.
And I owe her so much. She's a stay-at-home mom and had been ever since we had started having kids, and sacrificed so much. And, you know, she doesn't get likes or subs for that. She gets eye rolls from the kids for that, now that they're 13 and 15. But, like, she's done a good job. Yeah. We have an amazing relationship with our kids, and it's definitely because of her and how much she's done to be there with them. And we have a parenting style where we April, my wife, and I talk about how we parent all the time together, so that we're always on the same page. And a lot of it is almost the opposite of how we were raised, where we were always told what to do, or just because that's the way it is. But my wife was very adamant about, whenever we tell the kids to do something, we also have to say why. And if you and I can't agree on the why, then we have to talk about it. And that was really, really cool of her. And I remember one time early on, even before we had kids, I was starting my business, right? So everything I was thinking about was the business, because I had to survive, because I had just gotten laid off. And I remember talking to her once, and like her mouth was moving, but I was thinking about the business. She like caught me. We were literally having a conversation, and I was just not there.
You were not present.
I was not present. And she called me out on it, and she was like, "What was the last thing I said?" And I was like, "You're thinking about your business, aren't you?" And it was like, "No, before that." And I was like, "I don't know. I'm sorry." Yeah. So the couch was nice that night.
Yeah.
But I'm very glad that she is on the same page as of me, is like, we have to position this family in a way that supports the kids in the best way possible. So she was able to sacrifice a lot of what she wanted to do. But now that the kids are older, we're getting a lot of that time back.
Yeah.
You know, and
have you done much travel?
We do a lot of travel. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've been to Japan the last 3 years in a row. We have family in Australia, in Brisbane, which we've been to 4 years in a row pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I know Australia was super strict during COVID on like what was allowed in and out, even interstate.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to Korea this year. My daughter's into K-pop
North or
now.
south?
We'll see where it takes us. So I like your jokes better.
Yeah.
That was a joke, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
My daughter's into K-pop now, and by proxy, my wife is now into it too.
Great.
So they go to these concerts and stuff. You go into a room, it's like Korean boys like all around.
Yeah.
And now I'm into it. Like, I'm like, oh, I like Felix. So we're gonna experience that. And like, again, we only have, the way I think about it now is, with my son who's 15, we only have 3 more summers with him. With my daughter, we only have 5. So we got to maximize that time. And again, thanks to the businesses and the flexibility of it, we can go places when we want to.
How do you manage not having kids that will turn into brats, knowing that mum and dad have lots of money?
We don't give them everything they want.
Yeah.
They have to earn it. We live in a neighborhood where everybody else also gets what they want.
Yeah.
And we have to just lead by example as parents. You know, if I bought everything I wanted, but then I say, well, you can't have all that, then there's a disconnect there. So we have to lead by example. And that's why we don't have the super large crazy mansion or crazy cars or Lambos or whatever. I don't want any of that. But like,
and it's funny because you could probably, I'm hypothesizing, you could walk down the road tomorrow and buy a $300,000 car and it wouldn't change your life hugely.
Financially, no.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a conversation though. Why are you driving this car? Like, what's the practicality of this? And what example is it setting? Am I going to tell my kids that, well, I have a hole in my life, so I need to feel better about myself, so I'm going to buy this thing that, you know, superficially makes me feel like a man again?
Yeah.
Not saying everybody who buys one of those feels that way, but, you know, that's why some people buy those things. That's not the message I'm... Like, what is the message based on the actions that I'm taking today that my kids are going to receive? And I always think about that. And I always think about it even in the long term. I think about my kids older with their own families. My daughter and my son getting together because they haven't seen each other in a while and just talking about like what mom and dad were like.
Yeah.
What are they going to say? What are the actions that I could take today that would make that conversation one that is great to reflect on versus one that they, regret or despise?
Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.